All right, guys, listen. We've all done it before. It's happened to the best of us. It's happened to everyone. Okay, there's always been that time you've gone to a movie. You didn't really have huge expectations for the movie, but you go with your friend. You guys go together. You get some popcorn. You get a drink. It's fine. It's fun. And you walk away from the movie thinking, oh, that wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. And you and your buddy, you talk about it for like a day, and then you just forget about it. And well, that's Morbius for us. So
Yeah.
we saw Morbius about a month ago, and
When it came out.
yeah, like it was like
the second day.
second day, like
Yeah, it was getting reamed in the reviews, and we're like,
gotta see it.
I gotta see this.
And
No way this could be this bad.
theater was empty,
Yeah.
by the way. So there's maybe 4 or 5 other people around us or something like that. I
Uh-huh.
can't remember. It was not busy.
We watched it. We saw that Nathan Drake was actually still playing. We're like, we should see that.
Yeah, that's so true.
should
We
see
walked in. I forgot about that.
Uncharted was still in theaters. Like, what are we doing?
We were sitting in the snack line like, oh man, we should have saw that. But anyways, welcome to How I Met Your Fandom. Today we are talking about Morbius. This is Ibby. I'm
Howdy.
Ethan, and guys, we all know what we all want to talk about. Okay, we all know. The only reason that we're talking about this movie is because of the post-credit scene. Okay, that's the only reason. But we're gonna get us there. Okay, we're gonna walk through the process. We're gonna give this movie its due diligence and try to explain it to the best that we can for the fandom, for the sake of building whatever might be this new Marvel like
Crafting marble? Crafting it out of marble?
yeah, that's how pristine it's going to be
Yeah.
when they're finished. They're giving us Morbius so that Marvel can be Marvel. Okay,
Yeah.
That's
I'm picturing like that time SpongeBob, made that big statue, and then Squidward like put the nose on it. That's what Morbius is. It's that ugly nose.
is the nose.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So let's just walk through it real quick. We're just gonna spitball this timeline. So Morbius starts off. Actually, the first scene is when he's in the jungle, right? And then it cuts back to when he's younger.
I think it's a flashback. I think is it?
I think he gets the bat and then it flashes back.
because the bat's probably like into a transition.
Yeah.
Of the past. You're probably right.
I'm pretty sure that's how I remember it. Again, I forgot we saw this movie. So
Yeah. Funny enough, we talked about this movie after we watched it and said we should do a podcast on it because we started the podcast already, and then we didn't do the podcast.
Yeah.
on it.
yeah. So
Our bad. Here we are though.
and we haven't watched it again. So if we're clearly mistaken on something and you guys know better than us, please let us know.
Yeah. We're gonna make some mistakes here.
Yeah,
Yeah, we saw this not drunk, but actually would have been better drunk.
maybe.
It would have been. And mind you, I say better. It wasn't a bad movie. That's the first hot take here.
Yeah. Morbius is not a bad
We
movie.
watched this movie, and we didn't talk during the movie because we're good movie goers. But like, I remember thinking, this movie sucks. Oh, this is garbage. Right from the jump, this is a horrible movie. And then as it got better, it got better. I'm like, I don't know why people hate this movie so much. And then it ended. And I'm like, no, yep. That's a solid movie. It is a movie.
It is a movie.
Yeah,
It's
I've
not
seen
bad.
worse. We watched Venom 2 together, and we were both looking at our watches.
Venom 2 is bad.
Yeah, I'm ready for this to be over with.
This movie is clearly better than Venom
Yeah,
2.
I don't care. I will fight you.
Yeah.
I will die on that hill.
So
Morbius is not the worst Marvel movie ever made.
Oh,
Marvel
for
period,
sure.
whether you say Marvel proper or MCU, like it's bottom of the barrel, but it's in the good side of that spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if this ends up, which it seems like it will, if this ends up being a movie that they need to project a different movie forward, I wouldn't tell anyone to skip this movie. I'd be like,
No.
you probably need to watch that
You
to
should watch
understand
it.
something.
You should watch it. Yeah.
But yeah, so it starts off. He's in the jungle, and the world building is he's out in the middle of this mysterious place that you like to kind of poke fun at.
Yeah. Island Nublar. Yeah. It's like Jurassic Park somewhere, and on this park there's Jurassic bats. It's unreal. Like my first qualm with this movie is the bats. They don't explain them enough.
Yeah.
These bats are wild, and honestly, Ethan, it gave me a little bit of anxiety.
Why?
He brought those bats to New York.
Oh.
And I took zoology for 2 years, and I'm over here thinking this is an invasive species if I've ever seen one. Like, don't let these motherfuckers out. We have a
Oh my
problem.
gosh.
Bats are benign on their own. These bats are nuts. You might lose a cat,
Yeah,
a dog.
more than a cat.
Yeah, you're
I
gonna
mean,
lose.
they show you bones laying around this
Yeah.
cave, like they've drug full size like donkeys and stuff like that to
Yeah,
the cave. to eat.
Exactly. I don't know. I said I don't know if any human's gonna get got by this bat unless they find their way into the sewers and you got some construction workers down there, some MTA workers down there. But there's some small creatures, some beloved creatures are getting gone. Spike is don't let Spike out at
Yeah.
night. These
Mhm.
bats are nuts. So yeah, they don't explain those bats. These bats are a special Marvel breed of bat. I feel like they didn't have to go that route. They didn't have to go that route if they needed the bats to be explicable in this serum or whatever. Bats already have that coagulant. Vampire bats already do that. I am not Steve Irwin. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure they already have that. That's how they drink. But they also just don't drink blood. But anyways, my point is, guys, this disease that he has, this blood disease that he has that requires him to have an oil change. Let him say it twice, 3 times a day.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's hell.
Mhm.
They don't explain it enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not a doctor. They don't have to explain the macro science behind it. I just need to know what's it called. I'm pretty sure they didn't say that to us.
Yeah.
They could have said anything. I'd have been like, oh yeah, that sounds like science. And they didn't explain, what it does or how it does it, anything like that. All we know is that this guy, who has it, Morbius, becomes a doctor in the future and decides that bats hold the potential cure.
Yeah.
And not just any bat, this special, not real bat. And I think if they would have explained the disease more, they could have explained the bat more. And I would have been satisfied. But that's like my first nick. Like, yeah, these bats aren't real. He's got to go.
Yeah.
These bats are a nuisance.
That would be pretty cool if I mean it's so much like it there's so much stuff I would accept for lore building, like you could take it way back and there's a curse on this cave or something. It could be
Exactly.
it could be
You could have got
anything.
weird with
yeah,
it.
Yeah, you could have got
This is a comic book movie. Take it there. Yeah. Side note, I just rewatched Batman again. The Batman, I should say. And we should do one on that too. I think we already said that before. We should do it. It's so good. It's actually way better the second time I watched it. But my point is, he needs those bats. Like, if we can cross this like universe thing. Christian Bale's Dark Knight had a sonar that can call bats. His bats are harmless. They were just really cool aesthetic.
yeah.
These bats would do damage.
All of a sudden Batman's a villain if you get close to that. But yeah. So yeah, he gets the bats, and then it cuts back to the past. I think you meet his best friend and his essential father figure.
We calls Toby. What was his name?
Oh yeah, what is Milo?
Milo.
Yeah, he calls every new friend that he has in there Milo, which also is really weird because at some points Milo accepts his name is Milo,
It's pretty fucked up.
and they continue to call him Milo even into adulthood, and I think that's really strange. He's even cast as Milo,
Yeah.
which is like
There's room for a really interesting scene choice that they didn't take. We'll talk about when we get there. We talked about this before, but we'll talk about when we get there. And I don't want to jump too far ahead. But yes, Milo, very peculiar, decision to make. Like, I get it. Jared Leto didn't expect to like this kid or him to even survive.
or know him for very long, right?
Yeah. But at some point, you'd think he would have called him by his real name.
Yeah.
Like,
Something.
some term of endearment that was initially meant for you to be temporary.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well.
There's power in a name, guys.
And they get separated as teenagers, and then it comes back to the
I don't think they
future.
get separated as much.
Well, yeah,
Well,
they
he-
do. He goes to a school for gifted.
Well, they stay connected is what I'm getting at. Like, they made it seem like these two are tight.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm thinking they get physically separated,
Gotcha.
and so much so
Alright.
they write the scene as like
Gotcha.
Milo is upset when his letter gets crumbled, right? Like he
Yes,
thinks it's the
yes.
last he's gonna
Yes.
see of this kid. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and then it fast forwards, and we that's when we get to know that he's the doctor, and he's Nobel Prize winning for this fake blood that he's created.
Mm-hmm. Which, not to get too far lost in the woods there, but there's an important little plot point that you skipped over, and that's Milo beats the shit out of some kid.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, Milo
Yeah, yeah.
is, for all intents and purposes, handicapped.
Milo's about that life though.
Yeah, yeah, and he's sick, and he loves his friend whose name is Michael Morbius. His real name, not Milo. And he calls him Michael, and he gets called Milo. Lame. Anyways,
Yeah.
that letter gets blown out the window, and he makes his way downstairs into the public to get his letter back, and some mean Greek kids pick on him, and he snaps and he beats the crap out of one of them, and it is the first obvious sign that this guy's going to be a villain.
Yeah.
Like, you're rooting for him, right? This kid's in the right, but also he has a rage about him
Mm-hmm.
that is not going to go away.
Right. Yeah. And then as the story progresses, you start world building around Morbius, and you really find out, he's got like a semi love interest, but like he's clearly not
Will they?
pursuing because he's it's like a will they, but they won't.
Yeah.
You know what? It's
Yeah.
almost like it's a little bit different than will they, won't they?
Yeah,
It's
because
like,
he's living in a different world.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's attracted to her. She definitely is attracted to him, personality wise. Because he's ill. He looks gross.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's as if like they can't be together.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they just aren't.
And he's on a death sentence.
He's on
as
a
far
death
as they're
sentence.
concerned, he's on a death sentence.
Yeah, it's not even if they wanted to give it a go, it's kind of not. It's not ethical. It's like that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. But she's all about even though she acts like she is his moral compass in a way, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
The moral compass. She's actually all about his nefarious plans to help the world by any means. So much so that we end up catching them out on a boat in the middle of the seas because he's finally got this vampire bat coagulant
Serum.
anticoagulant serum that has been able to basically he injects it in a rat that is injected with his blood.
They don't explain the science at all.
I don't.
And again, we aren't doctors, but we could use some basic explanations. Just this is going to work, and this is why.
Yeah.
Not. I guess this rat has it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. You're right. I didn't think about that. No, that it didn't make any sense. He tested on the rat, then just went immediately to human trials.
Right.
This guy said, "Fuck the FDA. I don't have time for this."
Yeah. So he shot at this rat. It killed the rat.
Killed the rat.
And then they come back, and the rat is alive and healthier than ever.
Yeah.
And so
ipso facto, this is gonna work.
Yeah.
Because they worked on a rat. Yeah, man. They go into the high seas. And that's also where we find out. I think we find out. If not, we didn't. We knew just how rich Milo is.
Oh, right.
I think they said Milo was rich because he went to Milo for the boat, but also like, wow, this guy.
Long money.
Long money. He organized a Black Ops cruise.
Right.
That's not. I mean, Jeff Bezos could do that. It's probably a short list of people who can assemble that together.
Ask no questions. We're here with guns on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Although they do end up asking too many questions and they die for it. But
fuck around and find out if it was a person or a number of people. It's actually just a person.
Yeah.
He fucked around and found out, and his whole crew found out with him.
Right.
To no fault of their own.
All he had to do was stay up there, and yeah. But
you hear that? Hey man, they don't pay me to fucking investigate things.
I'm supposed to keep what's outside, not inside whatever's going on. Okay. Yeah. So Morbius ends up taking the serum that has not been tested on anything but this rat, and it messes him up, and so much so, and that's when henchman number 1 comes in and thinks he's so bold that he goes in there to find out where Morbius went, and goes in with the love interest, which we should probably her name is Martine Bancroft. Dope name.
Martine Bancroft is a dope name. We are not deep into the comics, guys. So if she is a comic book character, I would like to know. I mean, we can Google it, obviously, but like,
yeah, why don't y'all tell us?
Y'all tell us.
Yeah, cool.
This is a safe space. You know what I mean? We are consumers of content, as you are as well. So come out here and nerd out with us.
Yeah, whoever's the biggest fan here of Morbius, come through and let us know if you liked Morbius, because that's what I would want to know.
Yeah, I talked about this at a party once, and the dude was like, "Was it Hunger? Is the villain Hunger?" I'm like, "Okay, you were clearly reading the comics." I fuck with Marvel, and I have no idea. There's a villain named Hunger. Like, I didn't even Google it. I just took it at his word.
That makes sense for a vampire name.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Not very imaginative, but very to the point.
Yeah.
Like Thirst. I actually would prefer Thirst. Yeah,
I could see that.
or hunger and thirst. Go ahead.
But yeah, so they bust into the quarantined cage, and he is gone. And then they look up, and he's on the ceiling, like straight out of some kind of horror movie, just clinging to the ceiling. Pounces on this dude, and this is the first time we begin to see what I think is probably the highest point of this film, the coolest point. The animations of Morbius throughout the whole movie, anytime he's using powers, I think they picked very great CGI animations for what they're doing. Like, he's smoky and misty, and then when he uses his sonar, it's like very much like a pulse, and like the whole world around him kind of smokes for a second.
Yeah.
Like, whoever was behind that pristine, crisp job, I thought it looked great. And the whole time he's killing all those dudes on the ship, it just looks awesome. It looks really, really freaking cool.
Yeah.
And then, he somehow, I mean, plot armor, he does not kill Martine Bancroft.
Well, she got knocked out. So that's not plot armor. She's literally not a threat. You know what I mean? That's how I interpreted it.
But he like drained all of them of their blood on the ship.
But they were all threats. How I interpreted it was before he even he was still in the bed. So she got knocked out early on. And then maybe he wasn't in the bed. He was freaking out. And that guy knocked her out somehow. Somehow she got knocked out. So he didn't even.
Morbius knocked her out.
No, Morbius knocked her out.
Yeah, when they ran, when they saw him on the ceiling or something like that, and when he pounced or something.
I could have sworn it was the door that got her.
I thought he bumped her. I thought he didn't bash her and knock her out. But I'm pretty sure his aggression pushed her into tripping, into hitting her head or something like that. Like,
yeah. Well, my point is,
I don't remember. Maybe it was the henchman.
My point is, the reason why I feel like it's not plot armor, and I'm giving this movie credit, is that it seemed like she was literally just off the board, and he did not care. He wasn't that hungry. He's feeding off these people who are actually a threat. Like, if any of those motherfuckers probably would have stayed upstairs, they probably would have survived that day. You know what I mean? They would have given him a chance to cool down and calm the bloodlust. But because they came at him with guns, he's like, yeah, you're getting hit, you're getting hit, you're getting hit. And a part of me, again, like I said, hard time remembering it, I feel like the henchman might have knocked her out, which is also kind of pisses him off. I mean, because
yeah, dang, I can't remember.
Yeah, all of a sudden they are they're not only they're a threat, but they hurt somebody that I care about.
Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's plot armor. I think they did a good job of making her unavailable, because had she been alive and up, and even though she's not an aggressor, any sort of movement probably would have set him off.
Yeah. Okay, I'll roll with that. I'll take that. Sure.
Yeah.
But then he makes out the boat anonymously. I mean, he jumps out at sea or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then when he gets back to the city, realizes he is, in perfect health, and doesn't know why he's in perfect health or how or anything like that. I mean, other than this serum or whatever. But then realizes it's wearing off. He is losing his health. He is reverting back, and but anyways, all that being said, I kind of can't remember a whole lot that happened in between there.
Yeah,
at some point, his friend Milo comes up to find out what happened on the boat.
Essentially, he's testing himself. He gets back. He tries to resume his life as Michael Morbius, Dr. Michael Morbius. So he puts on the crutches.
Yeah,
and he covers him up. He walks with a hunch. The skin can't be fixed. He has a glow about him that's just
yeah.
Put on some foundation.
He's also jacked.
He's also jacked, but he can hide that with layers. Yeah. He's also testing himself. He's in his top secret lab underneath the hospital, and he's throwing tennis balls around. He's lifting weights, and he's testing himself, which you can also argue is expending his life force.
Yeah.
That's causing him to revert back.
That's true.
But so this cure all, guys, is not a cure all at all. It's if anything, it's trading one hell for another. It's definitely the better hell, but it has its own side effects, right? You're not going to die, but you're going to think you're dying. And you're going to do some things really, really fucked up, probably. Luckily for him, he's a brilliant scientist who invented a synthetic serum. Unluckily for him is that, like any drug, your body becomes immune to it. It knows it's not the real thing. So if this serum gives him 6 hours of a high, if you will, 6 hours of sustainability, the more he uses, the less time it lasts.
Right. Like
And he's-
each
and
time you use it, it takes like a minute off
Yeah.
how long he can last or
and
something
he's
like
counting
that.
it
Yeah.
down. It was like to the point where he's going to need human blood or a stronger serum. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
We don't know how that movie ends. But yeah, he's basically doing that. He's just trying to keep up appearances. Bancroft is back. You know, he called the FBI, or he called Coast Guard, called somebody. Somebody came in, found the anonymous blacklisted ship, and Bancroft knocked out the sole survivor. And yeah, he's just going off on his merry way until Milo comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And when Milo comes in, he's found his friend at his worst, because I think he is literally trying to see how far you can get with it, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, he is in ravage mode. Like, I'm gonna kill first thing that walks through this door. Luckily, he's locked up in his cage.
Right.
Probably gonna die himself if Milo didn't come. And Milo comes and he gets in the synthetic blood. And Jared Leto has to explain, what's going on. Hey, I found a cure, but it's also the worst cure ever. So remember when I told you I'm gonna kill you next? I lied. And I need you to trust me on this.
You don't want this.
You don't want this problem.
Yeah.
I'd rather die. And Milo's like, nah, man, he's let me make the decision myself.
Mhm.
Give me the drug. And he won't do it. And then Milo is sent away angrily. Get the fuck out, kind of thing. And then it's that cute little Milo, come back. I always kind of hate that,
Yeah.
It's like they blow up, and then they, what do you want? You literally want him out of here. You said it 1,000 times, then you yelled at him, you scared him away, and you're like, I know you want to apologize, but also it's like, you do want him out of here. Like, call him. Hey, dog. Are we cool? But no, anyways, this is where one of my biggest, bigger than the bats, guys. The bat was nitpicky. My biggest issue with this movie is what happens to Milo. They sacrifice, I don't know. They try to go for a cool reveal. They lean into for the cool reveal, and don't get me wrong, it was cool. But it wasn't cool enough. Because I'm still faulting them for it. And that's how the fuck Milo got the serum. I could be wrong here, but I don't recall them showing that at all. And I just said, like, I was joking, like he rolled a crit 20 on
Stealth check.
Yeah, sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Because he walked out of that bitch with what he wanted the whole time, and he played the role. So he also rolled the nat 20 on the
Perception.
performance.
Yeah.
Because he's over here like he gave Jared Leto the choice. Let me take the serum. Let me take it, knowing damn well that serum's in his pocket at this point. I'm pretty sure he already had it at that point. He already walked by it to get the blood and walked by it again to get it to give him the blood. I don't think he went back to the desk. So yeah, he made it out of there. He's tested it on himself. No lab, no restraints, whatever. And of course, naturally,
Worked the same way it worked with Jared Leto.
Same way it worked with Jared Leto.
Although it does seem, maybe this is just because Jared Leto took some time, or Michael Morbius took some time. It does seem their powers manifested differently, which is kind of interesting. Well, so they make it seem like Milo doesn't have the same sonar strength that Jared Leto has. There's a couple scenes where you see that Jared Leto is using the sonar against Milo.
Yeah.
Or in his fight with Milo.
Okay, I see.
You know what I mean?
Almost on some mutant shit.
Yeah. And also...
Same gene, different powers.
I don't think we ever see Milo fly.
He doesn't. And what I was going to get at, and it probably goes with what you just said about the sonar, is that Michael Morbius is a scientist. And he experiments, and he trains, and he practices.
I bet you, yeah.
And Milo is a fuckboy who's never worked for anything in his life.
Yeah.
So he's riding around cruising on the base level power. And he's also literally feeding on human blood.
Yeah.
So if it seems that Milo is stronger than him, which he is,
it's the blood, not the training.
It's the blood, not the training.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or even the power itself.
Right.
If Michael Morbius would just consume some human blood, he might actually have stood a chance earlier on. So it's really interesting handcuff they put on him.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, I think it's literally just the aspects of the people. One is a trained scientist who understands discipline, and the other guy is like, this is a cool new ride. This is a cool new thing. We take this thing out for a spin and wreck it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's a murder that happens. You know what I mean? I guess
A string of murders.
A string of murders.
Milo's killing everyone under.
it's definitely a string of murders. But why did he go after the doctor in the hospital? Now that I'm saying it out loud, I don't think he went home. I think he did. I think he did it at the lab.
That's how.
Whenever Morbius wasn't there.
That or he could have came back, but and just knew that he's got to pin Morbius for this thing, so he's got to kill someone.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're big braining it. I'm over here. I'm thinking that he was being sincere when he said he didn't mean to kill the doctor. We're getting ahead of ourselves, guys. So there's a string of murders. Tyrese Gibson's on the scene, and his partner Al Madrigal playing Agent Rodriguez. Low-key my favorite character in the whole movie. He's hilarious. Tyrese Gibson, not a big fan of his. Not a big fan of his music. His music's definitely better than his movies. My point is, he's in here, and I was actually underwhelmed that he wasn't used more, because this is probably his best performance. And that's not a diss to Tyrese Gibson. You know, we were always getting better. He played the straight man versus the silly guy, which is why I don't like him in Fast and Furious. And those are kind of the only movies he's done. I mean, his best movie is Baby Boy. But anyways, he comes in to investigate these series of murders, and he basically has Michael Morbius dead to rights. You know, and they chase him down as a really cool cop chase throughout the hospital. Morbius gets pinned up on the rooftop. He can't fly yet, or he doesn't think he can fly yet.
But he senses it.
He senses it.
Like,
Yeah,
maybe I can. This is interesting feeling.
I'm gonna remember this later. Can I ride the wind? That's a really cool, like, on some Colors of the Wind paint. You could see it. He's like, this is interesting. He goes to prison, or goes to jail, I should say. And Milo visits him in jail, and all but confesses. You know, hey, I'm gonna help you out here. I left you some blood, all that kind of shit. And he leaves his cane behind, because, you know, he's a feeble old man, or a feeble young man, and leaves the cane behind. I'm like, was that on purpose?
It had to be, because he's Suave Boy walks.
Yeah, he's Suave Boy walks out of there. He doesn't think about that cane at all.
Right.
But like, he could have like had his cake and ate it too, you know, had he just played the role. But I think he really wanted to, like, you know, wink at your boy there. That caused Jared Leto, Morbius, to break out of prison and track him down.
On some Superman stuff, like okay, I was letting you guys keep me in here, but now I'm not.
Yeah, now I'm not. I gotta go stop this guy. He's a real danger to society. And he gets down there, and yeah, man, Morbius is like, Milo is about to. He's murdering people indiscriminately, and he makes an emotional plea. You know, when we are the same person, we have the same disease. I helped you out. You saved my life. You're my best friend. You're the only person I care about in this world. And you cured us. And I get it. The doctor was a bridge too far. I murdered her. That was horrible. I'm sorry about that, but you know how it is. Yeah. You don't get control over that first turn, which, again, like, you know, you're big braining it. You know, you're thinking that he's playing them. He's manipulating them. I was thinking he was being sincere. I want to believe that Milo,
I see. Yeah.
Has a good side, if you will. It's like, yo, I took it and I murdered her, and that sucks. But I can be good. He didn't say that last part. He didn't say I can be good. He takes it dark. He says, you know what? These people picked on us our whole life. Maybe it's time for them to feel weak and powerless. And that's where he lost me, because this guy is a really good villain. Overall, by the way, he's overall a great villain. Matt Smith killed this role. He ate this role, guys, pun intended. But we were joking about this after the movie, like, yo, this guy could have lived a really good life and not murdered anybody with those resources. My guy, he could have started a whole fucking blood pack, a whole blood drive. You know what I mean? Where he takes 10% for himself and still helps the world.
Right. It's like such an unnecessary complex for like eternity or
100%.
Like,
this guy could live forever, like sipping on like fucking, you know, what do you call
red
it?
Wine,
red wine, blood packs. Yeah, a flask of blood.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Easily. But no, he chose violence. This guy, he was that little boy lost his letter. and decided to kill people indiscriminately, like cops and anybody on the street. What that fucking guy at the paper, which honestly, hold on, that guy kind of had it coming.
Yeah, he was talking crap.
He was talking shit.
Yeah.
How'd you know? How do you know him? How do you know? You don't even know this guy. Looks can be deceiving, and then he just bites that guy's head off.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I was having a real rough time with my own moral compass. Like I love a villain that I can see their point of view, and I don't know, man. I was just there, then you just took it too far, man. You just took it way too far.
What's the Falcon meme? Captain Falcon.
He's out of line, but he's not wrong. That's what I'm saying. It's literally what he should have been saying hey, I'm out of line, Morbius, but I'm not wrong. We could do this together. But nah, Morbius wasn't having it. He wasn't about the violence. He wasn't about that life. And Morbius had to put him down.
Yeah, and it all spearheads at a really awesome fight scene. I mean, they are doing some slow-mo cool stuff, and they're doing some bamfing, Nightcrawler bamfing, and so they do really well to show you how fast they're moving, and then letting you know if you're seeing anything, they've slowed it down so you can see it. It's like, but they're
hitting like lightning fast.
Yeah, they're on like some
to the point where again, our one boy is over here all feasting off human blood, so he's at amped strength, and Morbius is not. He's getting his ass kicked, and he has to flee, and he does, and that's when he learns to fly. He just kind of just feels it out, and just hops into the air and speeds off faster than a fucking train.
Yeah, faster than a train. Yep.
And Matt Smith is like, how the fuck did he do that? But instead of going after him and trying it himself, he's like, nah.
Just go kill more people.
All right, your loss, I guess. You didn't stop me.
And then so I mean, it keeps building up, and then Milo keeps crossing boundaries, goading Morbius into this thing. First, starting off with their father figure. Milo goes and tells. Kind of gives the father figure, Dr. Emil Nicholas,
by Jared Harris,
the same talk he's given Jared Leto. Like, I'm not gonna be good. I mean, you raised me, and you're a good guy, but like, look where it's gotten us.
Yeah,
and,
nature versus nurture and shit. Like, look at me, we're the same person. Here I am. This is my point I was talking about earlier that I wanted to get back to. Even Dr. Emil Harris calls him Milo. That is fucked up.
Yeah, he does.
That is not a term of endearment.
Yeah.
And Milo, I guess maybe we're reading too much into it. Clearly Milo doesn't seem to mind. He never brings that part up.
Yeah.
Because he is on some big brother, little brother shit, sibling shit. You love him more than me.
Yeah.
I'm always a disappointment. You love him more than me. And Jared Harris is like, I love you both equally. Milo.
Your not real name.
Yeah. And I'm just like, if that's true, then why do you keep calling me Milo? He named me that. You know my name.
Yeah.
Do you though? I don't even know you. What's my name?
Say it right now.
Say it right now. Say my name and I will not kill you. It was wild, and they skipped that scene. I'm like, they skipped the scene. They didn't write that or whatever.
They just
I'm like,
it. Yeah.
I'm like, that's an obvious.
That's easy.
That could have been some really good acting on both their parts had they went that far, and they didn't. So that's a strike against them. Hire me on your writing team, Sony.
Yeah, it's crazy in a cool, interesting way. Michael Morbius made his villain.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Made his Frankenstein 100%.
And I like that plot line. I don't usually like it for an origin story.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that's like the movie 3 thing. Like, I think that's even freaking Iron Man 3's villain. He made his villain.
He, in a roundabout way, he really just like, he was cold and dismissive, which made his villain.
Yeah.
So yes, that counts. But like, I guess what I was getting at was like, oh no, I'm gonna give it to you 100%. Because like it's exactly what he does. Had he been nicer and less of a dick, you know what I mean, heard him out.
Yeah.
This AIM, not AIM. What was it called? AIM is what he founded. But the power that old boy created could have been harnessed for
Used for
something
good. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it was crazy. Same freaking thing. Dude's got like what's got like cerebral palsy or something like that. Like, and he's
Yeah,
killed with that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly. Had he been shown some kindness
Yeah.
to that guy, he could have said, "Hey, you're on something here. Let me help them." He helped it. That's twice though. Iron Man, at least in the MCU, is literally like picking up the pieces of his fuckboy self from years past.
You're right.
Because he also made Mysterio
Yeah.
for that same fucking reason. Mysterio was a salty motherfucker. So Mysterio was over here like, I created that barf, that technology to, create illusions for therapy and all that kind of stuff. He called it barf and he used it to like, get through his daddy issues. And then he fired him. Yo. And I'm pretty sure that was post Iron Man Tony. So he still had a little bit of savagery in him.
He's still got some work to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, exactly. Same. I'm with you though. A villain who's made by their hero when done right, can hit.
Incredibles did it best.
Incredibles did it best. Yeah, yeah. Shine like because then you have the villains who are Sins of the Father kind of villains, which is what Whiplash was, and what Killmonger was.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, those are cool too.
Yeah, it's a good plot. It's a good plot.
Yeah.
They like we said, Milo keeps crossing these boundaries, and eventually, so Jared Leto is already after him after he has killed Dr. Emil Nicholas.
I mean, he's after him after just being a person.
That's true.
Like,
But now he's like
on site.
now he's like I'm gonna probably not turn back from this fight now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
gotcha.
one of us is dying here kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it comes down to that Milo has now moved on to hunt Martine Bancroft.
Yeah.
And I think this is what ends up giving Michael Morbius the hand is when he actually gives her the vampire's kiss or whatever it is. I think he gets her blood, and that's when he gets to fight full power against him.
She said make it count.
Yeah.
So we skipped a lot, but no, not a lot.
No, not really.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, he goes hunting for Bancroft, and Bancroft goes into hiding because of that reason, right?
Yeah.
But she's also being hunted by the FBI. I think that's what we're missing.
Right.
She's being hunted from two different
She's a
directions.
co-conspirator, and they're figuring that out.
Yeah, talk about a plot hole or like a plot corner that they wrote themselves into. She made herself a fucking fugitive.
Yeah.
Out of the hospital. But anyways, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they hunt her down. He hunts her down, and he ends up killing her. Right,
Milo. That is.
Milo hits her with a fatal blow where she is dying. Morbius can't get her help in time, so she says, "Make it count," because they've been hanging out together, and she cut her finger once, and he's like, leave the room. You know what I mean? Like he can't be around blood at all. He just can't control himself. Get out of here. So yeah, she's like, all right, bet. Now she's dying. Hey, I'm gonna need you to cross that line.
Yeah, take this.
Yeah, take this blood here and fuck this guy up.
Yeah.
And that I think you're right. Yeah, that gives him the edge. He has all the skill, and now he has the strength as well.
Yeah. And still gets a little handed when they get down to that fight. But of course, the plot armor gets him through it and does some cool things, summons the bats.
Yeah.
I mean, big fight scene happens, and
another thing that old boy can do.
Right. And Michael Morbius wins over Milo, and now we finally get to talk about the post-credit scenes.
Yes, post-credit scenes. Well, let's do one more thing.
Okay.
I think it's a post-credit scene too. Bancroft didn't die.
No, we didn't see her die.
No, I'm pretty sure her eyes opened.
Oh,
they cut back to her eyes open. So which is why I wanted to talk about the birth of vampirism. You know what I mean? Like this movie does something interesting with vampires, and that's it acknowledges that they exist to at least in a I don't know what's the word, mythical fable way, right? For example, The Walking Dead, infested with zombies, and nobody calls them zombies.
Walkers.
They're walkers,
Right.
biters, deadheads, whatever, as if zombies don't exist in fiction. They've never seen a movie, never seen Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, whatever the hell.
Mm-hmm.
This is something unreal to them.
Yeah.
Which is a cool take.
Right.
I dig it. Old boy, Agent Rodriguez meets Morbius in his interrogation room with holy water.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He's over here like,
Just in case.
just in case. I'm pretty sure you're a vampire, and I hear this stuff works. So like, he might have read a book, seen a movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Vampires might not be walking the earth in this world, but they at least exist.
Yeah.
And now there's one in front
So,
of them.
so fable is a good word for that.
Yeah,
Like they
yeah.
were fabled, and now he's like, wait, are they real?
Are they exactly? And then old girl's eyes open up. So like, yeah, this is a serum that he took to cure his disease, and he created a new one, a vampire virus, if you will. That when he bit and drained his girlfriend, he turned her, probably inadvertently.
Yeah.
So that begs the question.
Or maybe it's just the difference of he chose not to drain her.
That's not that's
It's probably like
we can talk for ages.
again, we don't know the science.
Well, yeah, we don't know the science. We can talk about. You want to talk about vampirism? Dude, I'm your guy, because that's another thing too. You don't drain your victim because they won't turn. You know what I mean? They will die, and if you want them to die, then cool,
Then drain him.
then drain them.
Yeah.
But like, I'm telling you, man, I told you that song, Kings of Leon. Do you ever think of me? Closer. It's a song about vampirism. And he said, you keep on crying, I'm gonna bleed you dry. You know what I mean? Like, I will kill you. Do you want to be a vampire? Or do you want to die? So that's the same thing. And then I think in Twilight they use venom, which I think is stupid. You know what I mean? In Twilight, I think they can actually inject you. They can choose to turn you or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So instead of draining you, it's like I can inject you with my venom and turn you into a vampire. That's dumb. I like the other one better. But anyways, neither here nor there. She's turned now, and it
This makes me want to play ESO.
Yes,
I'm always a vampire in that. So
I was a werewolf. We hate each other.
Yeah. It is what it is.
I mean, werewolves are better based on the underworld lore. Underwear. Edit that out. Underwear lore. I know because I said they're gonna keep it. But yeah, with it makes you ask: is vampirism existing already? And he created a splinter cell of vampires? Because I don't know a lot about Michael Morbius, guys, but I have seen some cartoons, and I know that at some point him and Blade team up, and Blade hunts vampires. Blade's also half vampire himself, so he can see the humanity in Morbius and be like, all right, you're a vampire, I'm a vampire, let's go kill vampires. And Morbius is like, bet, let's do it. Is that what's going to happen? Is that the future of this franchise? Because I'm not gonna lie, I know Blade's coming to the MCU, played by the great Mahershala Ali. Can't wait for this. Are they going to try to work them together somehow with some fucky wucky shit, which leads us to the real post-credit scene? I brought in the Vulture from Spider-Man: Homecoming, played by Michael Keaton. He is, in my opinion, probably top 3 villains in the MCU, which is hilarious because the Vulture's a garbage villain in my opinion.
Yeah. See, I agree and disagree. It's hard for me to separate the Vulture that we were given in the MCU from the Vulture just at its face value of like, you are a tinkerer. You're just like a tinkerer, and you're like every other tinkerer villain. You're just like essentially bad guy Tony Stark, like, and your suit kind of doesn't make sense. There's no way you can hold that. That probably weighs so much. And like
the harness, the MCU gave him a makeover, and they made it work.
Mhm.
I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, guys, and I was super disappointed that they announced Vulture as the villain.
Yeah.
And then I watched it, and I was like, this is amazing. He's one of the best villains in the universe. And without going on a long tangent, it's quite simply because he's a normal person, and I dig that. That everyman angle works for him.
Literally takes them to prom or whatever.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like, and yeah.
And talk about being, a villain made by Tony Stark. That's it. He has a solid reason for being a villain.
Yep.
I'm on this guy's side. I'm rooting for him. I'm actually rooting for this guy. Like, it's Peter, let him go. Like, he's, you know what I'm talking about, right? Tony Stark, they're not like us. They're not. Peter, let this guy go. He is not the problem. But yeah, dude, no, they brought him back. I'm sure the angle is to launch Sinister Six, which making Michael Keaton the leader of that is badass. But how they're doing it is not great, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like,
What do you mean?
well, it's they're breaking the lore of what they built in Homecoming, at least to my knowledge. We're talking about time travel, guys, in interdimensional. Sorry, not time travel, but interdimensional travel, and the rules are not real, but there still has to be rules.
Yeah.
And the rule that they set was that when Peter Parker, cast that spell for everybody to forget who Peter Parker was, everything will go back to normal. So, we saw those villains and heroes, those other Spider-Man, spoilers. So, those other Spider-Men go back to their universes. We saw Venom go back to his universe, although he left a piece of himself behind, which I still hate.
Doesn't seem like it makes sense.
It doesn't make sense. They broke that rule already, so there's room to break more rules. Somehow, Michael Keaton got moved from the MCU universe to the Sony universe, and he got Stephen King put in prison. Y'all watch Castle Rock? Great show on Hulu. He's in the prison. He shouldn't be there, and they don't know why to keep him there. So let this violent villain go. They don't know him. They just know he shouldn't be in the prison. He's not on the manifest. They let him go, and he goes back to his villainous ways. The next scene, he flies into the middle of some fucking field with a souped up harness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this.
It's like he got Green Goblin's gear too.
Yeah.
He didn't just get his
Right?
gear. He got Green Goblin's gear too.
Yeah. He got an upgrade in this universe. And I'm just trying to figure out why the fuck he's not back yet. Why didn't he go back home? No, you can play with time, and maybe it hasn't happened yet. A lot of time happened. How long was he free when Peter Parker was doing his dirt?
You know what? That's actually something I noticed about Morbius, and I thought I might have missed it, but now I'm like thinking I didn't miss it. They maybe didn't tell us on purpose. You don't get. You know how usually when they do a cutback to a flashback or something like that, they'll tell you when it cuts back and like tell you like present day or whatever. But in the first time they like tell you, they never tell you the OG date. They don't tell you the date when he's at the cave.
Yeah,
they tell you the date.
He's grown up.
When he's little.
Yeah,
they are. I don't even know. I think they say like 30 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, they imply enough.
Yeah, but they don't tell you what time.
Yeah,
the plot is happening in.
Exactly.
So yeah, it could be.
That might be their back door. You know what I mean? I assume they're smarter than I am. All of us. That they know what they're doing. But also, do they? Because a part of me feels like they saw the success of Spider-Man Far From Home or No Way Home, sorry, and we're like, yo, we got to make this. We got to capture that momentum. Keep that shit rolling.
Yeah.
So like we even like before this we watched the trailer, the original trailer. I wasn't convinced that the dialogue Michael Keaton used in that post-credit scene was fresh. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was from the trailer that scenes that he probably shot earlier that they cut out of the movie because Michael Keaton is not in the movie proper at all, like I expected him to be. And this did some shoehorned post-credit scene, which is why he was in the mask. And you know how movies do. You know what I mean? It kind of pisses me off. Spider-Man keeps taking his fucking mask off. You know what I mean? Like, this is a movie, not a comic book, so they take their mask off a lot. If Michael Keaton was on set, he would have been talking face to face. But that's clearly some CGI suit, and he's just, speaking to probably a fucking microphone and emailing it to Sony. Yeah, that dialogue is seemingly fresh. You know what I mean? They probably recorded it between, January and April when the movie came out.
Who knows? Yeah.
But they definitely changed some things. They changed, and we know that already. They pushed the movie back.
You're right.
They pushed the movie back, so they changed some things to make it make sense, but it doesn't make sense. My big question is, what's the team up for?
Yep.
Are they teaming up in Morbius's universe? They're gonna bring back a Sony Spider-Man. Wink, wink. Andrew Garfield. Aaron Garfield,
which is what the community's been like demanding.
Yeah, give us what we want. He wants to do it. He wants another crack at it.
I just want to say I was Team Garfield before it was cool. I just want to.
You know what? I'm gonna let him have that because I was Team Garfield as well. I didn't want him to get gotten or whatever. When I saw Holland, yo, they wooed me. They moved me real fast. They said, Garfield who? I'm like, this kid is amazing. But no, Garfield is probably my favorite Spider-Man. And it's just that it sucks because his movies aren't that good. And by his movies, I mean one of them.
Wait, which one did you not like?
The second one.
Really?
Well, don't get me wrong.
I like
I
both of
enjoyed
those.
it. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed him in it. He was amazing in it.
Yeah.
The movie overall isn't great. And that's Sony. In a nutshell. They fuck it up. They knocked it out of the park the first time with, you know, not say the first time, I mean the first movie.
Yeah.
The first movie was amazing. I love the first movie.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
It is good.
But
Yeah.
the second one, man, they just fucking, I don't know, overloaded it with villains, and they rushed the relationship with the Green Goblin, and
Yeah.
it came out of nowhere. It felt forced. I didn't need all that. They tried to make Sinister Six happen immediately. I
Mhm.
was like, yo, we have time. Give me time. And now I feel like they're doing it again, right? I think it's kind of the motive. Like,
Feels that way.
they're doing Sinister Six again. They're bringing in Vulture and Morbius now instead of whoever they're doing before. But who is it? Is it going to be in Sony's universe, or they're going to go back to the MCU? You know what I mean? Like this is the corner they painted themselves into, and by they I mean Sony, because Feige has no obligation to honor anything Morbius does. He said, "What? Vulture's over there now." Psh, well, he came back because those are the rules. I don't know what Sony was talking about, but he's back in the MCU. You look it up.
Yeah, I just want to see who all's been in the Sinister Six over time.
It's a rotating team. Yeah, Electro. Yeah, Doc Ock.
Mysterio,
That's one of them.
Vulture, Sandman. Who's this guy?
That's Kraven the Hunter.
Okay.
Which he's getting his own movie as well, which I can't wait for. That's gonna be lit. That's gonna be played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, guys, the guy who played one of the
Oh,
Quicksilvers.
Lizard. Duh.
Lizard's one of them. Yeah. I'm trying to see if Morbius was ever one of them.
Yeah, I just thought that'd be interesting to see. It's not looking like
Rabbit.
so far, man. There are a ton of variations of this thing.
Yeah, man.
Sinful Six.
Ooh,
Oh, I almost thought that was
the
it.
Juggernaut's in part of that one.
Yeah.
Sin Eater, the leader. Whirlwind. That one.
Well, Age of Apocalypse, Blob, Cloak, Dagger, Phoenix, Sauron, Sonic.
Wow, Sauron. Wow, deep cut. Yeah, man. That's where they left it at, and I was excited to see Michael Keaton, and I love the Vulture, but the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I hated it. So, like, yeah, those are my questions. What are y'all gonna do with the Vulture, with Morbius? What's the future of this? If y'all return to the Andrew Garfield, I'm all in. I am all in. If y'all trying to get it to the MCU, make it make sense, and I'm all in too. But like as it stands, it just looks weird.
Yeah.
It looks rushed. It looks weird. Also, another question: why is Morbius an asshole now? You know,
What do you mean?
he seems to be like something of a hero. You know, he's drinking, synthetic blood, trying to kill people. I think you were talking about this before. The community is upset because it undermines the entire plot of the movie or whatever, of trying to be like a good hero person. Even in the trailer, guys, if you watch the original trailer with Michael Keaton, he says, got tired of being the hero? Got tired of playing the hero? And you can take that to mean that, as a doctor, he is a hero, and now he's a monster. You could take that to mean that. But we know he was a hero in this movie. He saved people.
Yeah.
He put an obvious threat off the street. But what happened between the end of the movie and whatever time that lapsed with Morbius? Because now he's driving a car for some reason. It's a swanky car too, like some kind of a Lincoln commercial.
It's fancy.
Yeah. He's just zooming. An Audi, probably an Audi. I can't remember what it was, but it was nice. And yeah, he's driving his car, and he's teaming up. He just says, "Sounds good," or something like that. Morbius, the weakest elevator pitch I've ever heard. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't sell anything. He said, "Hey, you want to team up?" He was like, "Sounds good." And like, they're clearly going after Spider-Man, but why? What did Spider-Man do?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
There is a part in the movie earlier that I wonder if this has anything to do with it, where he like jumps somebody, and they're like, "What are you? What are you?" And he's like, "I'm Venom." He's like, "I'm just kidding."
Yeah.
And it's like
that's the
so
lab he hijacked.
he knows Venom,
Venom's in that universe,
and so I mean,
And not only that, I think they mentioned that before. I think they mentioned it in the movie. They're talking about like these series of murders. They're talking something about like reminds you of San Francisco.
right? Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
They like
The
they hint
agents,
at it.
the
Yeah.
agents are on it. Yeah, man, I don't know. And I will say this, as I said in the beginning, if this film ends up launching something really incredible, and it's the diving board that they need to do it, I would never tell anyone to skip this film. But I
Yeah.
think that also means the power and the value of this film is directly related to the next film they have.
Oh yeah.
If if the plans they set up in this film suck, then this movie
Sucks.
kind of sucks. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like right now, like we both came into this movie with no expectations because the things were so bad. We were pleasantly surprised, but not like
Wowed.
wowed and awed and everything. But like, now we're like, okay, show us what you got.
Show us what
and
you
it's
got.
like
Yeah,
if,
you got
if they
me.
flop, they flop.
You got me
know?
on the hook. So like I'm over here bitching about this post credit scene, but like y'all can spin this.
Yeah, there's a
Like,
way. Yeah.
I don't know what's happening, and it's annoying. You know what I mean? I want to speculate, but speculating makes my brain hurt because of like the dimension and all that shit.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I'm all in for Sinister Six. I'm all in for Andrew Garfield to return. I'm all in for Morbius to go to the MCU. And I don't know, maybe it's lazy, but I'm almost rather it be that he just be the MCU version of himself. And they just fold him in. We just forget this movie happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's just say like, almost kind of like the Netflix Defenders series. Almost like that. Where like, hey, this stuff happened. Almost all of it.
You might be calling something. What if that
Yeah.
is the movie? Is that Keaton knows I don't belong here, and their conversations are there's something better for us in this other world I was in.
Yeah.
Like, get me my tech, and we can get over there.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know.
If they can bridge that gap and get Morbius into the other universe, then I'm all in. If whatever gets Keaton back to the MCU brings Morbius 2, I'm all in. If they decide that Morbius already exists in the MCU and similar things that happened to him in this movie happened to him in this world, I'm all in. Like, don't even have to explain too much.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, man, I bit my girlfriend. She's a vampire now. Go figure.
Yeah.
I had a best friend named Milo. I killed him. Go figure. But maybe, I don't know, maybe the bats weren't so vicious. I don't know.
See, that's the thing. It seems like that's probably our biggest critique here is that like they could just explain a little bit more, and maybe they're afraid to because maybe they're like, we don't know how to explain this yet, so we're not going to.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad movie if we don't mess up.
Yeah.
So if we don't attempt to mess up, we can't mess up. So therefore, it's just an even killed movie.
Exactly. And everybody's just like, we can fill in the gaps ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly why that
Yeah.
happened. Exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't explain that but you're onto it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna release a really ambiguous film,
Yeah.
and then when all the community starts saying this should happen, we'll make that happen, and then when they say it sucked, we'll be like, this is what you wanted, and then
You know what? You're joking, but that's literally how the Star Wars sequel series is.
oh really?
It's literally it in a nutshell. Like Star Wars, they made this whole canon or this whole like saga of movies that was probably master planned to some degree by George Lucas. I don't fucking know. They started making these sequel movies with Rey and everything. They made one movie, and we're like, all right, cool. People like that. All right, what should we do next? Do what they liked, and then people hated that. They're like, let's not do that again. Do something different. And it was like, and it showed. It was so painstakingly obvious that nobody sat down in the room for several hours or days or weeks and storyboarded this trilogy out.
theory crafted it. and
Yeah,
whatnot.
it's bad. It's bad.
Well, everybody, this is a review on the movie we forgot that we saw. Again, we want to hear from the fandom that exists around Dr. Michael Morbius. Did you guys like this movie? Did you guys hate this movie? Is this just like a regular movie that you're ready to see the next step of, or are you already for sure not going to see the next movie?
Yeah.
I doubt there's anyone that's like, I'm not seeing the next movie,
Yeah.
but I'd be curious to see.
I mean, I think it did well at the box office. I don't know. I know it had a good return.
And it's Marvel,
Which
you
a
know.
lot of it is a lot of that return is probably like hate watching like we did. Like we just kind of went in to see it. Like
Yeah.
is that wild?
Yeah.
Is that wild? Like either you're like a bad movie where like nobody sees it at all, or you're a bad movie where it's like this is famously bad.
Yeah.
I gotta see it, and they're like, hey, I don't care. You paid for it.
It's
I got your
marketing.
money. Yeah.
Marketing, man. This movie's so bad, you got to see it. Yeah, you got to. Yeah.
I told you my theory with Sonic, right?
No.
That they poorly animated Sonic to begin with. On purpose,
Oh, really?
On purpose. They put it out there and let the internet hate it.
So they could fix it.
They pushed it back, fixed it, and the audience came in droves. And now it's a huge hit to the point where I'm like, I'm not convinced that wasn't on purpose. Well, I'm not convinced that somebody
It was a
is
stunt.
super savvy and said, hey, we're going to make this dude look super ugly. Do it in the trailer. Only the trailer scenes. You know what I mean? Only
Yeah.
the trailer scenes make him look like shit. And then we'll fix it. Yeah, wink, wink.
Yeah.
And we're going to be heroes.
It's just the other save file. It's a little click of a button. Made them millions of dollars. Hey, that's marketing. But yeah, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hope to you guys let us know what else is coming out you guys are excited about. What else do you guys want us to talk about? Video games, movies, music. I don't know.
We should really hit that Batman while the iron's still hot. I mean, it just hit.
Oh yeah.
It just hit HBO Max. So there's a whole like subset of people who are seeing it for the first time finally.
I'm down. I got a lot to say about that.
Yeah,
Batman.
Samesies.
But okay. Bye everybody.